They laughed when the dog sneezed. They did not laugh when the galaxy trembled. The chamber of the Galactic Council stretched like a cathedral carved from living starlight. Holographic banners shimmered above each delegation, fractal symbols glowing in colors not found on Earth. The Vrak insectoids clicked their mandibles in unison. The reptilian HFY coiled languidly on heated perches, and in the shadows lurked the Groth, mountains of sinew and armor, their eyes glowing with the dull intelligence of predators who had never once lost a war. And at the center of this empire of grandeur sat Thomas Everett, Earth's first ambassador, clutching a leash. The leash was attached to Scout, a floppy-eared mutt with the kind of face that made children giggle and veterans cry, because it reminded them of home. Tom had insisted on bringing him, against every advisory board and protocol. The council chamber was cold, metallic, and cruel. Scout was warmth, loyalty, and, if Tom was honest, a desperate tether to humanity in a place that seemed determined to strip it away. But then Scout sneezed. The sound, a wet, high-pitched expulsion of breath, echoed through the vaulted chamber. Every alien ear, tendril, and sensory organ twitched. And then silence cracked into laughter. The Vrak rasped, "This is your war beast. The SSY so fragile, so ridiculous." Even the Groth rumbled with amusement, their armored chests vibrating like collapsing mountains. Tom's ears burned. It wasn't just laughter at Scout, it was laughter at humanity itself. A race mocked for its sentimentality, its weakness, its devotion to creatures with no claws, no venom, no armor. The HoloNet would run the clip endlessly. The Earthling humiliated by a sneeze. He clenched his jaw, forced himself not to snap, not to bare teeth like the primates they already thought humans were. Instead, he bowed stiffly, muttered apologies, and walked Scout out beneath the cascade of alien jeers. Each step felt like dragging chains across stone. Back aboard the embassy station, the mockery spread faster than light. Memes bloomed on alien feeds. Caricatures of humans marching into battle armed with squeaky toys, warships painted with cartoon dogs. Couriers snickered openly when they delivered messages. Even the service drones beeped in what sounded suspiciously like giggles when Tom passed. Shame was a heavy gravity, and it pulled Tom deeper each day. It was Dr. Eliza Vance who finally broke the silence. She barged into his office with the unself-conscious energy of someone who lived for discovery, not diplomacy. Her lab coat was perpetually smudged with soil samples, her hair always half-tamed by pins instead of combs. She carried a data slate like it was a weapon. "Ambassador," she said, slamming the slate down, "I've found your salvation." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Unless it breathes plasma or can eat a Groth for breakfast, I'm not interested." Eliza smirked. "Close." The slate flickered to life, showing grainy field footage. A striped, squat creature no larger than a terrier was locked in battle with a nest of hornets. It absorbed stings like rain, tore through wax and wing alike, and emerged triumphant with honey dripping from its snout. Another clip showed it wrestling a cobra, collapsing under venom, only to wake minutes later and resume eating the snake's head. "That," Eliza said, eyes gleaming, "is a honey badger." Tom squinted. "It looks like a skunk had a grudge." "Exactly. It is fearless, immune to venom, too stubborn to die, and will happily attack anything. Lion, snake, human, if provoked. On Earth we laugh at it. Out here, it could be our answer." Tom frowned. "Answer to what?" "To mockery," Eliza said simply. "They think our animal's weak. Let's show them the one that terrifies even us." She tapped again. The slate labeled the specimen, Malivera capensis. Nickname, Noodles. Tom stared. "Noodles?" Eliza grinned. "He likes noodles. Don't judge." 2 weeks later, Tom returned to the council chamber. This time, no leash. Only a containment harness, humming faintly with stabilizers. Inside it sat Noodles, who regarded the galaxy's finest with bored black eyes, claws flexing lazily against the energy field. The laughter began almost immediately. "This is smaller than the sneezer. Perhaps humans collect jesters as pets. Tom folded his hands. Wait. The test came sooner than expected. The SSYTH delegate, insulted by Earth's defiance, slithered close and extended a fong in mock threat. In a flash of teeth and fury, Noodles lunged, jaws locking onto the SSYTH's scaled neck. The serpent shrieked, coiling, thrashing, venom dripping harmlessly into badger fur. Guards swarmed, weapons drawn, chaos erupting. Yet Noodles clung on, unshaken, unbothered, relentless. When they finally pried him off, he waddled back to his harness, licked his lips, and yawned. The council chamber, for the first time in living memory, was silent. That silence spread faster than any laughter ever had. Within hours, rumors ignited across the stars. Humans had bred monsters disguised as pets. A single specimen had humiliated the SSYTH, shrugged off venom, stared down death as though it were an inconvenience. Alien media named him the Unkillable. Markets sold crude carvings of his squat figure, jaws locked on snakes or claws buried in armored hides. Tom did not correct them. Eliza did not clarify. And Noodles simply slept, snoring like an ancient machine, utterly indifferent to the fear he birthed. But respect born of fear is a double-edged blade. Assassins lurked now where mockery had lived. Couriers delivered not laughter, but threats. Whispers thickened in the chamber. If they bring one beast, how many more lurk on their savage world? Tom stood one evening in the embassy's observation dome, Scout curled at his feet, Noodles snuffling in his sleep. Stars burned in silence beyond the glass. Humanity had wanted recognition, dignity among the stars. What they had instead was dread. And dread, Tom knew, could turn a fire. He touched Scout's head, then glanced at Noodles. Loyalty and chaos. Warmth and war. Humanity in miniature, bundled in fur. He understood then. The galaxy would learn not just to fear Earth, but to respect the whole truth of it. You, reader, must remember this. Sometimes the world mocks you for the sneeze. Sometimes it trembles at your roar. But both live inside you, and both are necessary. For what is compassion without defiance? And what is defiance without compassion to temper it? That is the lesson of the dog who sneezed and the badger who bit the galaxy. They sent assassins with poison blades, but forgot the badger doesn't care about poison or assassins. The hydroponics bay smelled faintly of damp soil and machine oil, a pocket of green in the sterile embassy station. Tom came here often to clear his head, to remember that Earth still grew things softer than steel. Tonight, though, the bay was too quiet. Shadows pooled unnaturally between the rows of glowing vines. Then the shadow moved. A figure cloaked in chameleon fabric slipped through the leaves, blade glistening with toxin. It crept toward Tom, who stood unaware at the viewing glass. The assassin raised its arm, and Noodles exploded out of the dark like a curse. The honey badger slammed into the figure's chest, claws raking, teeth snapping. The assassin shrieked, slashing wildly, but venom-coated steel meant nothing to fur and fury. Noodles latched on, chewing through cloth and flesh alike, dragging the attacker down with a snarl that echoed like a war hymn. By the time security arrived, the assassin was curled on the floor, whimpering. Noodles sat atop the wreckage, blood-matted but smug, as if daring the universe to send another. News spread within hours. Earth's beast protects its master. The monster strikes in silence. The galaxy had laughed once. Now it whispered in terror. Tom felt the shift acutely. Couriers no longer mocked him. They avoided him. Delegates averted eyes. Respect had been won, but it was respect edged in fear. Eliza, ever the scientist, tracked every headline, every rumor. They think we're breeding an army, she said one morning over lukewarm coffee. They think Noodles is just the first. Tom sighed. They're wrong. Her eyes narrowed. But they don't want to be wrong. The proof came days later. A formal challenge was issued by the Groth. Their war beasts, towering slabs of muscle and bone plating, had never been defeated, not in ritual nor in war. To them, Earth's pest was an insult. They demanded a duel. Tom wanted to refuse, but refusal was weakness, and weakness would undo everything. The council chamber transformed into an arena of blood-stained stone, carved with the scars of ancient contests. Delegates filled the tiers, voices buzzing with anticipation. The Groth war beast entered first. It stood 3 times the height of a man, shoulders armored like fortress walls, claws sharper than forged steel. It bellowed, shaking the chamber, daring the tiny striped earth creature to face it. Noodles waddled forward, entirely unimpressed. He paused mid-arena to yawn, scratched his flank, and blinked at the Colossus as if wondering why the galaxy had dragged him from his nap. The Groth charged. The ground shook with each thunderous step. The crowd roared. Tom's hands gripped the railing until his knuckles whitened. Noodles didn't move until the last possible second. Then, with impossible speed, he darted under the beast's bulk and clamped down on its armored leg. Flesh tore. The Groth screamed. It tried to shake him off, rolled, slammed, clawed at its own body, but the honey badger was a living vice. Venomous barbs embedded in its hide shattered uselessly. Psychic shrieks bounced off his skull like raindrops. The Groth, titan of wars, stumbled, then fled. The galaxy's laughter died forever that day. In the aftermath, chaos rippled through the council. Some shrieked for Earth's immediate sanction, terrified of what such creatures might mean for interstellar balance. Others whispered urgently of alliances, desperate to harness what Earth had unleashed. Tom found himself surrounded not by mockery, but by daggers of suspicion, blades sharpened in words and treaties. And the attempts on his life multiplied. A bowl of fruit laced with spores appeared in his quarters. Noodles shredded it before Tom touched it. A psychic envoy tried to invade Eliza's dreams, only to awaken screaming with Noodles gnawing at his spectral manifestation. Even transport pilots grew cagey, refusing to ferry humans without double pay. Tom stood at the heart of it, weary, the weight of unintended consequences heavy as lead. He had wanted dignity for Earth. What he had gained was infamy. One night, back in his quarters, Tom slumped into a chair, head in his hands. Scout rested his muzzle against Tom's leg, warm and faithful. Across the room, Noodles gnawed a data pad he'd stolen, sparks flying as if chewing technology itself was just another challenge. Eliza entered quietly. She saw Tom's exhaustion, the way his shoulders slumped, the defeat written in lines across his face. She didn't mock him. She never did. Instead, she sat beside him. "They'll kill us before they ever respect us. If this keeps up," Tom muttered. "No," Eliza said. "They'll kill themselves with fear first. That's what panic does. It turns allies into enemies before a single shot is fired." Her words lodged in his mind like seeds. Fear was winning. Fear was painting Earth as a monster before Earth could speak for itself. But Tom had glimpsed something else. In Scout's eyes, in Noodle's defiance, in a strange harmony of loyalty and chaos. Maybe the galaxy needed to see both. Maybe the truth wasn't hiding the honey badger, but showing the dog beside him. The duel with the Groth had ended with a beast fleeing. But the real duel was only beginning, the fight for humanity's soul. The next day, Tom walked the corridors with both Scout and Noodles at his side. Courtiers froze, whispers thickened, guards tensed, but Tom held his head high. He let them see it. The contrast, the sneeze and the snarl, the fragile and the fearless. And in that moment, he began to understand. Respect was not forged by terror alone. Terror corrodes. But compassion wielded with the thread of chaos, could bend even the proudest necks. The galaxy was afraid, yes, but fear was not the end. Fear could be shaped. And you, reader, should remember this. Fear by itself is hollow, a fire that burns everything until nothing remains. But when paired with compassion, it becomes something sharper, a blade tempered, not brittle. Carry both in your hands. The softness of mercy, the ferocity of survival. For it is only in balance that respect, true and lasting, can be born. They thought Earth had bred an army of monsters, when in truth, we barely managed to house train the one. The chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Delegates spilled into the aisles, banners flickered, translators stuttered under the strain of so many overlapping voices. Fear thickened the air more than oxygen ever could. Words like quarantine, embargo, preemptive strike hissed from every corner. Entire civilizations trembled at the rumor that Earth's forests teemed with 1 million honey badgers, all waiting to be unleashed. Thomas Everett stood at the heart of the storm, flanked by Dr. Eliza Vance and his unlikely companions. Scout, the sneeze dog who had birthed mockery, and Noodles, the honey badger who had birthed legend. Together, they formed a tableau that should have been comic relief, but instead radiated a strange, unnerving gravity. The presiding arbiter, a crystalline being whose body pulsed with refracted starlight, struck the dais. The question is simple. Does Earth harbor weapons that destabilize this galaxy? Speak truth, human, or face sanction? Tom's palms were damp. He knew a lie would not hold. The council had spies, agents, seers. If he spun tales of legions, war would follow. If he admitted weakness, Earth would be carved apart. He glanced at Eliza, who gave the faintest nod. This moment was his. He cleared his throat. You want truth? Here it is. Earth has exactly one honey badger. His name is Noodles. He likes noodles, naps, and occasionally dismantling gods. That's all. Ripples of laughter, disbelief, outrage. A Vrag delegate clacked. Impossible. No species creates such a beast once. A Groth, scarred from its humiliating duel, rumbled. If there is one, there are many. Your world is a nest of terrors. Tom shook his head. No, you misunderstand. Earth is not a nest of monsters. Earth is a paradox. For every badger, we have 1,000 dogs. For every nightmare, 1,000 acts of loyalty. We are not just chaos, we are compassion too. He gestured to Scout, sitting meekly at his feet. This one sneezed, and you laughed. But his kind has guided our blind, guarded our children, comforted our dying. He is love wrapped in fur. And this one, he pointed to Noodles, who at that moment attempted to chew the corner of his containment harness. He is defiance. He does not bend, does not break, does not surrender, even when the universe itself demands it. Together, they are us. The chamber stilled. For a heartbeat, only Noodles' chewing filled the silence. Then the uproar returned, fiercer. Delegates shouted over one another, some calling for immediate treaties, others for embargo, still others for war. Tom's words had struck, but not yet settled. The climax came in the form of an unexpected voice. The Groth warlord, whose beast had fled from Noodles weeks earlier, rose. His voice was gravel dragged across iron. I fought beside titans who broke empires. None would face what this creature faced. None would endure as it endured. Fear is wisdom. Respect is survival. The humans have earned both. Gasps rippled across the chamber. The Groth did not give respect lightly. They bled for it. His word carried weight heavier than treaties. Others followed. The crystalline arbiter flickered in agreement. Even the SSYTH, still nursing bruised pride, hissed. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Worthy. And so, amidst the chaos, the council bent. Not to fear alone, but to the strange duality Tom had revealed. By the day's end, a treaty was signed. Earth recognized not as a backwater of sentimental weaklings, nor as a breeding ground of horrors, but as an equal power. Tom walked out of the chamber, trembling with relief, though he hid it beneath the ambassador's mask. Eliza exhaled beside him, eyes shining with the thrill of victory. Scout wagged his tail. Noodles tried to bite a reporter's microphone. The aftermath unfolded quickly. Alien markets filled with carvings of Noodles in bronze and crystal, his squat form immortalized as the symbol of unstoppable defiance. Children on distant worlds played Badger and Beast, leaping onto each other's backs in mimicry of the duel. Entire cults formed, whispering that Noodles was not an animal, but a divine herald of Earth's hidden might. Tom hated the exaggerations, but could not deny their usefulness. For the first time, no one laughed when he entered chamber. For the first time, humans were not the galaxy's punchline. And yet, In quiet hours, he wondered what they had unleashed. Respect was good, but myths had a way of swallowing truth. If Noodles became more legend than creature, how long before the galaxy demanded more monsters? He voiced his unease one evening to Eliza, watching Noodles snore on the couch while Scout curled loyally at Tom's feet. We've gone from ridicule to reverence overnight. I'm not sure which is more dangerous. Eliza smiled faintly. Both are dangerous. But isn't that the point? We show them who we are. Not one mass, but both. Loyalty and chaos. Mercy and madness. Let them wrestle with it. That's their lesson. Tom chuckled. You make it sound like we planned this. Maybe we did, she said. Maybe Earth always planned it, in its own strange way. After all, what other world breeds both golden retrievers and honey badgers? Outside the viewport, the galaxy sprawled infinite and indifferent. But for once, Earth was not small within it. That night, Tom raised a glass of whiskey, the kind that burned but warmed all the same. He spoke softly, words not meant for anyone but himself, though perhaps meant for the universe, too. They mocked us for weakness. They feared us for madness. But respect is born from both. Remember this, you listening soul, never bear your softness, never smother your fury. For the world will laugh at the sneeze and tremble at the roar. But it is in carrying both that you will finally be heard.